Hey, everybody, welcome to the Soccer Sharps, a soccer betting podcast, and we are here for the Club World Cup final. We're going to be breaking down everything for this big matchup on Sunday for you guys. We even got a special guest to give us some of his plays, and boy, do we have some nice plus money bangers. So, you guys are going to want to stick around for those. Thanks for checking us out. Here we go.
Martial, Herrera, Ibrahimovic! Oh my God, an insane goal! I've just seen the most insane goal I have ever seen on a football pitch. Balotelli, Aguero!
Well, we made it through. Only two teams remain out of this massive Club World Cup tournament, which has been at times incredible, at times disappointing, and at all times very hot. Jord, I'm here with you. This will be our last show for a little bit. We'll get a little break before the European season begins. And we do have a special guest in here from the Plus Money podcast. It's Andrew Passaro. How you doing, Andrew?
It's great to be here, guys. Longtime admirer of each other's work. So it's Nick's been on the show, so excited to jump on. Always happy to chat some soccer bets with everybody.
Hell yeah. And how you doing, Jord? You looking forward to this final?
Looking forward to it, Deb, for a couple of reasons. One, a pretty entertaining game, even if it's one-sided, and because we get a break after this for a few weeks. Be watching some women's Euros, maybe a couple occasional in there, but special shows or anything. The European start up again, so a little break for looking forward to that. But there's money to be made before we get to that point.
That's right. Well, as you can tell, Jordan's having some connectivity issues. His audio's sort of in and out here, and that's going to be reflected in his record, which I'm going to throw up on the screen here. Jordan coming in with a 1-1, 0 units gained. So there's that. On my side, I went a cool 2-0, plus 1.83 units in the semifinal round there. That was nice. For the tournament combined, we are still in the positive, and now we have one game left to just add to that total and hopefully not take it all away. So let's just move on to it, guys. I guess there's no reason to beat around the bush here. Let's throw up on the screen. We have Paris Saint-Germain against Chelsea. This one has Chelsea as big dogs here, a full goal underdogs. They are also massive dogs to win outright and lift the trophy at plus 250. PSG, it seems like, minus 350 to lift the trophy. If you listen to this podcast in the very first episode, I said, look, take the PSG future now. You could have got him at plus 275 and you'd be sitting pretty here, able to hedge on Chelsea. The total is set at a flat 3 here. And Jordan, I'll start with you. What do you see here that's standing out for you? Do Chelsea have a chance?
Well, in one game, anyone has a chance, right? But it's hard to see it. We were talking earlier, talked about this PSG just being an absolute joke at the moment. No one can seem to score on except Botafogo. Let's be honest, that was a total smash grab job. It was fluky. Even the goal that was scored, a fluky, a deflected goal there. Just batting down and stood in, and we're able to keep PSG out. That's not going to happen very often. And the rest of the time, PSG's just been crushing European teams left and right. Obviously, we saw the UCL final, 5-0 against Inter. Then they open up this tournament against Atletico, 4-0. They played Bayern, 2-0. And most recently, in the semifinal, Real Madrid, 4-0. That's an aggregate of 15-0 across those games. And suddenly, Chelsea are going to be the ones to put an end to it. Could happen. I don't see it. I got to go with what my eyes are telling me and what the data tells me. And I don't think this spread is big enough, honestly. -1 on the Asian handicap? Are you kidding me, guys? That's a free hit here. It's a push at worst. I think PSG get this done in the 90. I'm happy to take the -1 there. And I also think they get started early, as they have done often in these games. I think they score in the first half, and I think they score again in the second half. PSG score both halves. That's coming in at plus 120. Those are my main plays for the game. What are you seeing?
Yeah, Andrew, I'll toss this over to you, man. What do you like in this matchup, and how do you think it's going to play out?
I don't want to sugarcoat it. PSG are the best team in the world right now. We just saw them get through a grueling Champions League. We saw them go through some of the biggest teams in the world doing so. They got through Arsenal. They got through Aston Villa. They went toe-to-toe with a very good Liverpool team, taking them to penalties, which is honestly the closest they got to getting knocked out in that tournament. They almost went undefeated on the season in the French league. I know people are going to say, oh, it's only the French league. But when you start talking about an undefeated season, when you're going to play, 17 opponents twice, I think that would be 34 games. They won their domestic cup, an unprecedented treble. They're just on an incredible run right now. I think they have the best midfield in the world with Vitinha and João Neves. Fabian Ruiz does not get the respect that he deserves. That front line is super fluid. Everybody can score. Desiree Doué, I think, is going to be the Ronaldo to Lamine Yamal's Lionel Messi regen. And they've got the best left back in the world in Nuno Mendes, and Hakimi's probably the best right back in the world, and their backline's good too, and Gigi Donnarumma is really good. Like, this isn't just a team that's built to win this tournament. They're built to win everything again and again, and I'm terrified of them. But on the plus side, they score a ton of goals. They're super fun to watch, and I love betting on them. So I love betting first half over 1.5. It's something that I've kind of at times forgotten about, but with this PSG team, they've done it in 4 of their last 6 games. They did it rather immediately in the Champions League final, so it's hitting 5 of their last 7. At plus 128, I love 2 goals in the first half. I like PSG 2 goals in the first half. That's almost at plus 300. I could also, I'm going to take that over 3.5. I had the over 3.5 in the last game. They got that last second meaningless goal against Real Madrid. That hit for me. I had the over 3.5 in that game. I don't mind over 3.5 goals in this game as well.
Can't be meaningless if it cash you in over, man.
Exactly.
Mean, that's the most meaning.
Well, for us, it had meaning. For the actual game, I mean, Real Madrid were done within 10 minutes of that game. This PSG team is special, and I think it's still, the books haven't exactly caught on to how special they are. So I think there's a big opportunity. Nick says this on the Plus Money Pod a lot. They're still pricing Manchester City as if they were 2 years ago. To some extent, the books are still pricing PSG as the team that we thought choked in every quarter semifinal of the Champions League. They're not that team anymore. This team is the real deal, and they brought on 2 teenagers with Olé time against Real Madrid, and they did it in the Champions League final. They're well equipped to win this, and this is a young Chelsea team, and I know they won the Europa League, and I'm not trying to put down the Europa League. Or the Europa Conference League. Thank you. Thank you. God forbid I, a Liverpool fan, give Chelsea any credit. This Chelsea team doesn't really know how to win, in my opinion. They didn't play. They rotated their team heavily throughout the Conference League, qualified for Champions League on the last day of the Premier League season. If there are no Chelsea haters left on this planet, it means that I'm in the ground, okay? Like, I believe in Cole Palmer. I believe in Caicedo. I believe in Enzo Fernandez at times. But there's a lot of guys that have potential but haven't reached that yet, and PSG has all the potential.
Wow, yeah, it's hard to argue with you guys. And when the official plays come up, you're going to see that we're all pretty heavily on Paris here. So I'll speak toward Chelsea a little bit because, and it mainly starts with that Real Madrid game against PSG, where Madrid basically make 2 mistakes building out of the back, leads to 2 early goals. They're toast. It's done within 10 minutes. You said it. I don't think Chelsea will be as naive. I think Chelsea will realize what this Paris team is. And this is the first big test for Enzo Maresca, right? He's had a nice little cushy beginning to this tournament where this team, happened to lose to Flamengo. So then they got put on the other side of this bracket and got to play, I don't want to say cakewalk teams, but certainly not the level of Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, etc. that Paris has had to face. So they get a little bit of a easing in period. And now this is a test to say, can you adapt your play style? Because they're not going to be able to keep possession against Paris, which is what they want to do. So can they batten down the hatches? Can they play a different, almost low block style, right? They almost have to turn into like someone in the Prem. They have to be Nottingham Forest here against Chelsea. Chelsea have to be Nottingham Forest to PSG's Chelsea, if that makes sense. In order for them to have a shot. We saw Botafogo beat Paris, right? The winners of the Copa Libertadores last season. Botafogo, the tiny Brazilian club, comes in, beats Paris 1-0. And they did it with defense. That's the only way you're going to be able to stop them, is to really batten down the hatches and get lucky on the counter. That's the only method we've really seen. Even Liverpool, when they beat them in the Champions League in that 1-0 in Paris, was another smash and grab. It was the same thing. They got a little bit lucky. I even would think that Botafogo did a better job stymieing good opportunities than Liverpool did in that match. But you got to get lucky on the counter and score against them. That's the only way to get at this Paris team. So if Chelsea can keep the score low, if they can keep it tight, I think they could have a chance. All that being said, I'm betting Paris in every direction here. I mean, you have to, right? This, like you said, they're pricing this team wrong, and it might be our last chance to get them at these prices. So I really want to cash in. Paris to be winning at halftime and full time is plus money. And both teams to score no at plus 120. That at the bottom of the screen for those of you watching this. That's an interesting one to me because it's a terrible sweat. It's one of the worst bets you can make because it is 90 minutes of agony, especially if this goes the way we think it will, with Paris probably doing most of the scoring. Can Chelsea get on the score sheet? Only one team has done it against PSG, and that was that Botafogo side. Chelsea, also, I will say in this tournament, have not given up a goal in the first half through any of their matches. So there's that to think about too. But we've seen the way Paris starts games, right? From kickoff, they kick the ball into your end, out to touch, which is probably the coolest, most terrifying shit I've ever seen, because they're saying this is where we're playing the match. It's in your end, and we're going to be pressing you. And if Dembele's starting up top, boy, that guy is an absolute menace. So yeah, all that being said, it's hard not to take Paris here. I don't know. What do you think, Jordan?
Well, I've got Bob D in the chat here saying that Hakimi's score assist is plus 150, and it's been a fire bet. Andrew might have had that at a price. You're playing that, aren't you?
Oh, I'm all over it. Plus 180. Actually, I want to jump back to Chelsea for 2 seconds real quick, because you brought up a great point about the corner, or about the counter. Chelsea do have a speedster of a left wing in Pedro Neto, who has been pretty good at this tournament. Been really impressed with him. If he can get down there, I'm seeing 2 shots in the game, not on target, at plus 120 for Pedro Neto.
Ooh.
I like that a lot.
Ooh.
1 shot on target at plus 130. I think either of those, if you're looking for some way to justify betting Chelsea in this game, I think I may have just found my way to do it, because you're 100% right. You're only hitting this team on a smash and grab, and who's getting down that side of the pitch fast enough and getting past all of these speedsters for PSG? It's got to be a speedster in themselves. So I don't mind Neto props there.
Yeah, that's not a bad shout. And I have to say, if Neto is getting down the wings, that's kind of going to lead to one of my slightly pro Chelsea bets for this one. I'm only going to go with a half unit stake on this, but João Pedro to score or assist plus 250. I think that's too big for the guy. He's hit the ground running, came in as in the quarterfinals, looked bright, didn't get any goals in that one, but then he got his first start, had both goals in the last round in the semifinals, and he just looks electric. I think he might be the forward that they've been crying out for, and if Neto's bombed down the wing, they do get traction looks, he could hurt them. So I thought it would sprinkle at plus 2. Maybe that segues us into other player props.
Yeah, we can do player props here. I'm not a big player props bettor. I don't have a ton of them for you guys. Andrew, what do you got for the people?
So I talked about Hakimi score or assist. I like one shot on target is plus 100. He's done that in 6 of his last 10. He's missed it the last 2, which is really frustrating because I also played him 2 shots in the game in both of those games. And both of those games, he had opportunities to score late and decided to lay it off and give it to a teammate. The crazy thing about score or assist, he's done that in 4 straight. The crazier thing is the clutch value here. He's done it in 7 straight knockout elimination games for PSG, whether that's second leg of a Champions League game, whether that's a knockout game of this tournament, or whether that's the Champions League final, the French Cup final. He has been, and actually a bunch of those until the last 2 assists, he had been on a run there of scoring in 5 straight knockout games. I don't know if you're getting him anytime goal scorer in the like +4, +500 range. I think it's maybe like quarter, eighth of a unit sprinkled just for the fun factor of he's a guy he's going to go for it. I love watching this kid play, and especially with the way this PSG team play, he kind of rotates up into that. They don't really play with a true striker, and there was times that he's playing as that, and I think there's the ability for him to kind of get lost in the shuffle for Chelsea, with so many other players, with Doué, with Dembele, with Kvara, with Fabian Ruiz, all these other, dangerous players to worry about. I think there's the ability for him to get lost in the shuffle. I would love shot on target at like plus 125. If you can get it closer to that. I was actually seeing it at like minus 105, minus 110 in some books, which is ridiculous for a right back, but they are pricing that one right. But yeah, I'm on Hakimi in a big way in this one.
Yeah, I love that. And to piggyback on that a little bit, or not really piggyback, but his counterpart on the left side of the field, one Nuno Mensch, shot on target coming in at plus 255. That's too big. I know he hasn't done it much at this tournament, but throughout the season, he gets there fairly regularly, and he did have 2 shots on target in the last match against Real Madrid. So at plus 255, that's worth a sprinkle. That would be probably less than a half a unit for me, though. Another one that I do have a half unit play for is back in the score and assist department, and that's going to be Fabian Ruiz, who's having a great tournament himself. To score or assist plus 205, I think that's too big with the way he arrives into the box late so often, picking up those second balls that come back from deflection or goalkeeper parries. I think that's some value right there. I already mentioned João Pedro, and this isn't a play-up, but I got to give Chelsea a little bit more love in this because we are so pro-Paris here. Team total, 3.5 corners, minus 113. Get 4 corners. I think they've got it in every match this tournament. And PSG, believe it or not, some of their score lines have given it up in every match except against Miami, who only got 3 or 1 away. Botafogo, but reasons for that, right? Botafogo was in their own 18-yard box pretty much the match, so they weren't really trying to win.
Yeah, and Adam in the chat says PSG money line and both teams to score. No. Allez PSG.
Allez.
Yeah, there's going to be some good plus money on that kind of bet. And guys, look, it's one thing to talk about these matches, but it's quite another to put our money where our mouths are and pay the bookie.
Chuck, I'm going to tell you something. You have that fucking 200 in my hands tomorrow. If you ain't got the 200 in my fucking hands tomorrow, I'll break every fucking bone in your body.
Well, guys, we'll move on and give our official plays for the Club World Cup final. I'm throw the graphic on screen now, and I'll let us each read out our plays. I'm going with PSG -1 on the Asian handicap at plus 103. I think that's a push at worst. PSG halftime, full time plus 140. I think that's tremendous value for a team that starts as fast as PSG do. And then the sweatiest of the sweaty bets, both teams to score no at plus 120. Look, you got to have some stones for this. You got to have the right sort of interior makeup in order to be able to withstand the horrors of this bet. But if you're willing to do it, go for it. And I will say I'm betting all of this correlated in one direction. That usually means problems, but I'm willing to put my money on this PSG side.
Yeah, if the only thing that could stop us now is the old to feed the public, right? Everyone thinks he's going to get this done. You scared? No, I'm not. And I like the way I got to give us all props. We put it on the screen here. We're kind of going with correlated bets, but we found different ways to play them, giving some variety. I do like that. I'm also on PSG -1 on the Asian handicap at plus 103. Dev's got halftime, full time, but I've got PSG to score in both halves at plus 120. Chelsea team total corners over 3.5 at minus 113. And then a couple of half-unit player props there. Fabian Ruiz to score or assist at plus 205. And João Pedro to score or assist at plus 250. If anyone's going to score, it will probably be that guy at this point, but it's probably not going to be any scoring from Chelsea. Andrew, what do you got?
Yeah, I like goals early and I like goals often. I'm going first half over 1.5 plus 128. I like over 3.5 goals in this matchup. Both teams to score no was talked about. I like that as well. I have a big parlay for that, which we talked about over on my show. I think there's a link. You can find it at the Plus Money Pod on all the socials. You'll find links there. And Hakimi, score or assist plus 180. We just talked about him. And I'm going to take the one shot on target as well at plus 100 because I believe my boy.
Right on, guys. Well, That is all the official plays. It comes down to one match. And before we get out of here, let's go ahead and give some score predictions. Jordan, we'll start with you. What do you got?
I'm torn because I want to give Chelsea a João Pedro goal, but I don't want your both teams to score. No, I guess there's more money to be made if they score. So let's go PSG 4-0.
Oof. Andrew, what do you got?
You stole my scoreline. I also had 4-0 to PSG, and I want to point out the over 3.5 has hit in the last two PSG Cup finals. It hit in the French Cup final. They won 3-1, and they won the Champions League 5-0, which is crazy because more often than not, when you get to a Cup final, we're hitting the under, and we hate ourselves for it. And this is a PSG team that I do not feel uncomfortable with hammering the over and telling all my friends who aren't big soccer fans, hey, tune into this one. It's going to be a good time. I think this is going to be another good one.
Right on, guys. I'm going to be annoying, and I'm going to go under that. I think it's PSG 2-0. I think it's tidy. I think it's professional. I think Chelsea sets up not to get beat, and because of that, maybe it dampens the scoring. I'm happy to be proven wrong as long as Chelsea don't get on the scoreboard. But that's going to do it for us, guys. Andrew, thanks so much for joining us. Where can the people find more of your content?
For me and my way too many soccer bet takes and occasional takes on transfers and Liverpool content, you can follow me at Andrew Passaro. For the podcast at the Plus Money Pod. That's over on the YouTube. That's over on Instagram. For Twitter. We're all there, and I'm tweeting out the links to the show. It drops usually every Friday, and it's 15 minutes. We'll talk predominantly Premier League, but we'll hit everything. Whether it's Serie A, whether it's Bundesliga, some Liga and bets, wherever we can find value, we're going to talk about it. And we try to keep it under 15 minutes.
Yeah, and I like the way that you teased the latest. Do find the link. It is in the description of this video, the link to Andrew, the Plus Money channel, where you find that plus 600 SGP. So I love that foreshadowing. But yeah, guys. This is the last one. Let's hope we go out on a high note here and make some money.
Let's make some money.
Martial.